Good morning, everybody. This is Stacy Turner with our DMOpro Zoom, and I thought I would share with you how my weekend went. I was selling baby dolls at a market, and that's just sort of my entrance. It does make money. I'm surprised more people don't do it because you don't have to make the dolls. People think you do, but you don't make the dolls. I buy them on websites and then resell them, but it gives me a chance to talk to people. And I'm sure some of you guys have wondered, like, where does she come up with, like, from a doll to Juice Plus conversations? Like, how does that happen? So, one thing is, I live in a small town. So, through the years of living here, we've been here about 7, 8 years, and I know a lot of people in town. They recognize me. We've had conversations, or somebody they know has had conversations with me. So it's small enough that I'm recognizable, I guess. And so I think that helps. And anytime you can do a booth at a place where you're going to see people that you know, I think you're going to get a higher turnout versus if you're at a place where it's completely, um, like you don't have any connections there, especially when it comes to the Juice Plus conversations, because there is something we call rapport with people. You don't have to have a relationship with people necessarily to share Juice Plus, but just a rapport of, oh yeah, I've seen her, I know she's from here. I think that does help. Not to say you can't, because do an event or a booth in a place where you're going to be meeting complete strangers that have no connection to you. That's where I came from. I was at a booth in, Sharon Farr was at a booth in South Florida, and I came by. I didn't know her at all. We started a conversation. She built rapport with me, not just presenting Juice Plus. And we built a little bit of a connection as mamas of boys that were close to the same age. And so anytime you can build rapport with someone, look up that word, kind of study what that looks like. It's, enough connection. I'm like you, you're like me, but it doesn't have to be relationship like we hang out all the time, we're friends, we go to coffee and we go to lunch all the time, or we have you over for dinner. I mean, those are great. I like those. Those are friendship relationships, right? But rapport is just finding common ground between somebody enough to keep a conversation and a connection going. And so how fast and how quickly you can build that with someone really depends on how good of questions you're able to ask. If you're asking questions that just get a yes or no response, then it's going to be harder to find common ground, right? Like you don't really know what to do with a yes or no. But if you can get them answering and then dig a little bit deeper and asking questions that bring them into a conversation and make it about them, then you learn a lot about that person. You can then empathize with them, you can connect with them, and then you can offer a solution. And at that point, they're more likely to hear what you have to say because you've listened. You've built some connection there. So I think commonality in the same town, same group of people, same likes, that side of thing. If you can do booths at those type of events, and then I find it easier to share Juice Plus and get connections when I'm not at a Juice Plus booth. And I've done all of them. I've done a ton, and I do Juice Plus booths too, where it's just Juice Plus and we have people come by and talk to us. And you can easily get into conversations with them. You've got to get them, pull them in, right? Sometimes they just see like a company brand name and they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. So and they'll avoid eye contact. If they don't want to look at you, you don't want to talk to them. It's okay. Let them pass by. But if you can see that the interest is kind of there, I just would ask them, have you ever heard of Juice Plus before? So that's if I have a full Juice Plus setup booth, right? Like I'm there just talking Juice Plus. So they'll say, yes, I have, or no, what is that? And then they'll typically come into the table and lean in. I have found having a table out front is better than having them walk into a tent where maybe the table's in the back and there's tables on the sides and they have to walk in to have a connection with you. I like to be out front where they are. That's just less committing, like committal to them. If they have to walk in, they're like, oh, I'm sucked into this conversation. There's no way to get out. But if I'm meeting them out front, then I'm able to, make eye contact with their kids, comment on their cute purse, offer their kids gummies. Like there's different ways that you can kind of bring them into the conversation. And that just makes it easier to help that conversation flow. And then, of course, I don't want to go into full presentation mode where I would just say, have you heard about Juice Plus? And they'll say, no, what? No, what is that? And then you could just say, well, you know how a lot of people tend to rely on a vitamin to bridge the nutritional gap. They know they're not eating 9 to 13 servings a day of fruits and vegetables. So kind of the best thing we've been told is to take a vitamin. But there's a big difference between whole food nutrition and a vitamin, and that's what Juice Plus is. And then you could ask them from that point, do you take a vitamin? Are you taking a vitamin? Are you eating 9 to 13 servings of fruits and veggies a day? Usually there's some sort of like, they'll laugh 9 to 13, like what in the world? I'm like, I know you'd have to be a stay-at-home vegetarian to be able to eat that many. I only know one person that does, and that's Gwen. She's on here, and I always say that. That's my friend Gwen. She eats that many, but outside of that, like that's really hard to do. And it's sort of like a lot of times her full-time job getting that in. So this is something our family has taken for 22 years, and we've really found it super helpful. Do you have any health issues that you're working on? Anything that you're wanting to improve or even prevent? And then I let them talk. And if they say no, I'll say, great, sounds like you're doing awesome then. Tell me, how are you able to get these 9 to 13 servings in every day? Like, what are you eating for breakfast? And then they'll backtrack and they're like, oh, well, I don't eat that many fruits and vegetables. And then again, we're just like, yeah, it's super hard. How about the kids? Are they able to eat enough? Like, I'm just asking questions, joking, like keep it light, but I'm not really presenting Juice Plus. And then it might get to the point where we've asked those questions and the interest is there. And so I have my bead bucket that has 1,000 little perler beads in it that I go into the difference between whole food nutrition and a vitamin so that they really understand that. And then um, I just, keep the conversation going and to where they're either like, okay, yeah, like I want more information on this, or they might say, do you have a card? That's usually what people say. When they say, do you have a card? That means, hey, I'm not ready to commit to anything right now. I'm mildly interested, but if I take your card, I feel like maybe you are appeased a bit for this conversation you've had with me, and I don't feel bad walking away. But I don't do business cards. So I just say, oh, I'm out of the cards, but I would love to text you a couple videos. There's one I think you would like that shows how Juice Plus is made and how they get it from the fruits and vegetables to the actual capsules. It's only a 2-minute video. Do you think that would be something you would like to watch? I think that would make sense to you. And they'll say, yeah, I would like that. And I'll say, all right, just sign here on this sheet, or if I'm using Project Broadcast, have them scan your QR code, and then that puts them into your contacts, and then you have their contacts, right? So on a sheet of paper, I like a paper still because I can ask them, what their interests are, and then I can go into, are you interested at all in coming to a sourdough class? I teach sourdough classes. We do salad in a jar classes, meal prep events. Are you wanting to come to any of those? And they'll always say, yeah, that'd be great. So they check that one, they check the Juice Plus box, and then I'll say, okay, I'm going to text you here in a couple of minutes with that video. I'm really curious to see what you think of it. And then I can send you another one after that that goes into a little bit more detail, but maybe you guys can listen to this on your drive home today. So I'm giving them like an idea of when they could listen to that again, right? And then they say, thank you so much. Maybe I give them a couple gummy samples. If they're super interested, if they're like, yes, this is exactly what I've been wanting, I say, great, let's get you started. I'll build you a cart, and I'm gonna send you this link, and then stay here and I'll help you fill it out in case you hit any snags, okay? And they're like, yeah, that's great. So if you have cards, you can also have them fill out an information card to where you get their child's name and birth date, and then you can have that information to build them a cart, or you can just have them write that down where you're at and then send them a link, and they say, yeah, I got that link, and they'll say, okay, click on that. I just want to make sure that went through correctly. They click on it, and then you can see, like, is that what I put in the cart for them? And you're like, yep, that's exactly it. So just go here, put your, and like just walk them through it, and they'll go ahead and order, like if they're serious. I was telling Patty, I kind of worry about those people. I'm always like, are you sure? Don't you want to prolong this conversation for like 2 months and like 8 videos and 7 event invites later? Like, don't you want to kind of ghost me for a couple of weeks? Are you sure you're really ready to order? Because when they order right away, it makes me a little bit nervous because I'm like, do they really know what Juice Plus is, or is this just an emotional buy that they're going to like regret next week because they don't really remember when this box of stuff comes up? Like, why did I say yes to this? What is this? And so it just depends. If they've talked to you before and you've had conversations and they're like a solid yes, then go ahead and do that. And I had 2 girls on Saturday that I did that, but I didn't have time to even build them a cart. Like there were so many people in and out of my booth at that moment. I was just there by myself. I wasn't able to take the time, and I said, I promise you I'm going to get you a link. Give it may be a couple of days, but I know you're ready. I want to help you guys get started, and I really want you to come to an event that I'm going to be doing. So here's, I promise your phone number's on here. I will send you the link. And so that was kind of how that conversation went. But it's not about, perfection and the perfect words. It's, can you help lead someone and guide them to the point of sale, whether that's over a 2 month period of conversations, text back and forth, whether it's at a booth, but it is a skill set, right? Like you're not just, and you learn it over time. And there's times people have walked away and I'm like, why did I say that? Why? That was so not helpful. Why did I say that? That was dumb. Or I have no idea where that conversation went. We were all over the place. And then, other times people order right away. And then a lot of times they don't. These are people that stay on the list. They're in my project broadcast. They continually get information sent to them about the events. And it's like 1 by 2 by 3, like little conversations that keep going that finally they come to an event. So, and then a lot of times at those events, they do order. So the last couple of months, I've only been doing sourdough classes. And at this table that I was doing this week, so that's kind of the general idea of what I would do at a regular booth. But this one, I was selling dolls. They're like reborn dolls is what they're called, and they look very realistic. I have found I make good money doing them, and it's fun to be in the community, and I get to talk to parents, right? Because it's, especially if it's an event that kids are there, they're looking at the dolls, and I can have conversations, just a connection even with them. Even if I become the doll lady, which that was funny, the little girls were like, the doll lady is here. And I was like, no, the Juice Plus lady is here. But, it's fine. Like we're building rapport, right? It's hard to have a conversation about Juice Plus because that's not what I'm there for. That's not why they've come to the booth, right? They've come to the booth to look at the dolls. But there are times where people are walking by and they're just kind of looking, and I have a little sign on a stand that says sourdough classes $25 each. So if somebody's walking by, I will just ask them, have you ever thought of taking a sourdough class, or have you ever wanted to learn how to make sourdough? So this is probably adults that don't have little kids with them, or they're not interested in the dolls behind me. And they'll say, yes, actually, I have been wanting to make it. Now, why is that effective in my community? I've taught about 450 people in our small town how to make sourdough. All of those people are posting of their sourdough loaves. They tag me in the post like, thanks, Stacy, for the class, or I'm having the best time learning to make this, or I'm going to a sourdough class, or I'm posting about it. So people see those posts and they have friends that have come. It piques their interest. Yeah, my friend went to that. So at this point, because I've been consistently doing them, I have a lot more interest even than when I very first started. If I had never done any sourdough classes, I don't know if my first booth I would have the turnout that I did for the sign up sheet, but I think probably sourdough is like a thing now, and it has been for a couple of years. So let's jump on that train with it. And so in that conversation, I will ask the same question. I will say, we're doing the sourdough class, but at this class, I'm going to be teaching about gut health. And most of the time, they're like, oh, good. Like they're interested, right? And then I say, Gut health is super important to our immune system and so many things that we don't even realize how much it's connected to our overall health. So we're going to be talking about that. And then I'll just ask them, is there anything that you've been working on your health, something that you're wanting to improve or prevent? And then I let them talk. And then they'll say, I have terrible gut issues. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. This is perfect timing. I'm so glad you're here. This will be great for you to come to the class. Tell me, what are your struggles? What are you dealing with? And then I just lean into that conversation and let them talk. And then I'll say, definitely, you've got to come to the class. You're going to love it. And at this class, I'm going to talk about something called Juice Plus, if you ever heard of that. And they'll say, no. And then, okay, it's fruits and veggies in a capsule. I think it'll be super important for your issues that you just told me about. I think you're going to love this solution. It's something our family's taken for 22 years. And it's so important to feed that good bacteria. And we're going to talk about all of that. So I'm so glad that you're interested in this class. So I didn't get anybody that actually signed up and paid for the class. That's not really what I was pressing for. I was just looking for people's interest. And again, these people go into Project Broadcast, and then I have continual conversations with them. Some of them said, I'm not able to do the class this night. It's okay. I'll be doing those. So again, it's going to be my consistent effort continuing the classes, which continue the conversations, which continue the connection back to me and my exposure to them and their exposure to the message that I'm doing. But if you do an event and then you don't do an event for months at a time and then you do an event, I'm not saying those events aren't effective, but you lose the momentum of those conversations and those connections and their friends seeing them or their conversations they're going to have with their friends. Like there's just something powerful about continuing on, a consistent basis that really helps bring those numbers in. And most of the time we're not getting 10, 12 orders a month. It's 2, 3, 5 orders. It's person by person. And we love the big months, but it doesn't always happen that way. I think January did because it was an amazing offer. It was an incredible offer, but I had a lot of people in the pipeline, as we kind of say, that have heard the messaging and they've moved along. So it's just, can you build rapport with people? Can you keep the conversation going? Are you offering something that's relevant to them? To me, when I'm selling the dolls, like I'm not they're selling Juice Plus, and so it almost seems like the conversation is easier because really I'm offering the bread classes and I know they're going to hear about Juice Plus. So that's the other thing. Again, we've talked about this. If you're not doing a strong presentation at the event, at the sourdough event, you're totally missing the boat. They're a lot of work. It's a lot of prep ahead of time. The expense is fine. They're paying $25. People do up as high as $40 or $50 a person, which I think is fine. You could totally do that. But it is a lot of prep work, right? But it exposes you to people that you're not going to ever know outside of this. Like the last two classes I did, I think I knew two people in the class. So that was 10 people each class, 20 people that I don't know. They came from the posts that I put on, or people had recommended them, or they had been on my project broadcast list for interest for the sourdough classes. And that's how they came to the class. Like I didn't have to. I don't know, they're like how else it's like a booth almost like that you're able to go out into the community and get these conversations going. And one of the girls at the class asked, hey, can you host one of these? I would like to host it. Will you come teach my friends? And I was like, yeah, she's going to do all the inviting. And on Wednesday night, I'm going to do an event at her house. So there were other people that were like, I have friends that would like to do this. And I'd say, great, let's host I'll host it either at my house or you can, and you can invite your friends. We'll have fun with this. And a couple of people in different towns that were even interested, they're about 45 minutes away. I'll drive if I can get into somebody else's warm market. That's huge. So I really don't typically have people offering to host Juice Plus events, maybe a salad jar event, but that they're open to hosting a sourdough event and they're going to hear about Juice Plus. So I can't say enough about these events. I really think that they're important, and I really think booths are important to like get you out there. You can only be involved in so many groups and talking to the same people. We tend to hang out with the same people. This gets you out in the community. So if you're hesitant to just have a full out Juice Plus booth, I recommend doing both. Like sometimes I do those, and then other times I do something where I'm selling the dolls, or I'll do blind date with a book. There's different things that you can do and sell that aren't going to take a ton of your time, and it just gets you into the community and out there having conversations. So let me open it to yeah, Gwen came from a booth. We met Gwen at a booth. I haven't been able to look through the chats. Are there any specific questions? Remember, you guys are muted, but if did some question come up or something that someone wants to add to this?
Hey Stacy, I'm actually having sourdough this Friday, and at least two of the people that are coming so far, I don't even know. They just saw my post on social media and they've signed up, so that's fun. Also, I was wondering what card you use in your booth. I saw you flashed it up there real quick, and I'm using one. I'm trying to find it right now. I was going to show you what I'm using, but what are you using?
This is one that I had made way back. It was after one of the what was it? It was like a pajama regional, I think, where they had talked about it. Some of the girls had talked about their card, and then I kind of had remade it. But I've been working on adjusting some of the information on it before I order some more. Because before we had their address, remember to build them a cart, we needed their address, and we don't need that anymore. So that I took that space off. And then it says adult name, and then it circles capsules or chewables. But I had forgotten, like a lot of times I would get the card back. Well, I didn't know if they were interested in the trio or the quad. So I added that in there so that they would be able to do that. And it looks like this on the front. So kind of the bottles and the prices, and then their information on the back. So I was just working on that to redo it. So as soon as I finish it, I'll give you guys the link to the PDF, and then you can have them printed.
Okay. Also, your QR code. Mentioned Project Broadcast QR code. You lost me there.
Okay, so do you have Project Broadcast?
Yes.
So in Project Broadcast, I think it's a campaign. At the bottom of the campaign options, it says create a QR code. So instead of somebody typing in a keyword, and maybe it's under keywords, I forget exactly where it is, but it will have a QR code towards that keyword or towards that campaign. And then you print that out on a piece of paper, and then you have it automatically set up to where it says, Welcome to Sourdough classes. We're really excited that you're interested in coming to one. Same thing as if if they texted the keyword to your project broadcast number.
Got
And
it.
I didn't do that this time. The only, and I kind of go back and forth because on one hand, it automates that for me and I don't have to do it, right? But on the other hand, if I put them in, then I mean, if I have them sign up on this sheet and I manually put them in, I can see what their interests are. And I have this, paper to kind of come back to. And I just kind of like the paper side of it too. And it's sort of sometimes in Project Broadcast, it's out of sight, it's out of mind. The numbers, like you don't even know how many people actually filled out the form and give you their information. They are in that campaign or with that tag. So I don't think that there's a wrong way either way, but I do like having evidence. I don't know, maybe it's my own brain. I'm like, look what I did. I have 15 people's names. Like I actually did something, versus like, I don't even remember how many people I talked to. Did I get anyone's information? So you could do it, excuse me, where you had their information and then maybe the QR code up here. So they fill it out and then you say, okay, scan this QR code, and then you would have it. I think you can't go wrong either way. Like I said, if they scam that QR code I had a hard time getting people to go ahead and text me right then. They would be like, okay, I'll do that later. And I was like, no, you won't. Like, text me, I need to do this now. I had a harder time getting them to do that. I think the QR codes are easy to do and most people are familiar with them. So I don't know. I think it's just personal preference. It's more work for me now, right? Now I have to go manually put those in, but their name's going to be in there versus just the person's phone number. I don't think it's wrong either way.
Okay, thanks.
Hmm. Anyone else? Questions or anything to add to it? I
I do
think,
have one more question.
yep, go ahead.
With the baby dolls and everything, do you have Juice Plus on the table at all, or is it just your sourdough offering?
This time I just had the sourdough. Most of the time I do have the bottles set up, set there. I had them to the side and I had my bead bucket, but I'm telling you, this was crazy. Like I had little girls handing me piles of cash and saying, I want this baby. Here's my money. Here's $125. I counted it out. I want this baby. And so, I mean, it was just constant. It was crazy. I don't know what it was about. I think yesterday was the best time, best day I've ever had, like a 1 day event. I was constant. And so I really didn't get to have that many like true Juice Plus conversations. But I typically have those, the bottles sitting out. And then I had gummy samples. I never even handed out a sample to anyone. It was like if I could get into conversations, it was sort of a lull. And as people walked by and it wasn't as busy in the booth, then I was able to say, um, have you ever thought of talking, I would be able to engage them into the conversation about sourdough, but nobody just walks by, I'm busy with something else and signs up for sourdough either. Like it has to be a conversation, right? So this is not a passive business. When people talk about passive income, I just think it's funny. Like, I don't even know what that means. There's nothing passive about this. It's not aggressive either, right? We're not aggressively chasing people and trying to make them give their credit card. Like anyone that's ever ordered from me, I've never chased them down, tackled them, got their credit card out of their wallet and placed the order for them. Like they have chosen to order with me, but it can't be just passive to where we're like, I'll talk to people if they want to order Juice Plus, they'll get back to me, and I'll just kind of leave it in their hands. You can leave it in their hands and you're never going to get anywhere with this. You have to be um like persistent, and you have to be lovingly persistent, right? Like rapport built and relationship connection. It's not about aggressive or making somebody do something or getting the sale. I mean, we say that like I got them to order or I got a sale. I'm going to get my brother to order, and you're always like, ugh, don't go get your brother. Like, I don't know, is there some other word that we can say, but it's not passive income. If they're talking about passive income, they may be talking about residual income where you have a person that orders and then they order for years, but that's not passively just leaving that person alone. Like you're still doing good customer care with them and you're connecting with them and you're inviting them to events. Like there's no way to just totally make passive money in this business. Like maybe some others, like investing, where you put the money in, right? You're either going to put money or time into some sort of business. We don't put money into this business, we put time. So that's what your investment is. If you don't have a lot of money to start a business, um, then this is a great one. It's $52, but you have to put the time into it. And there's other businesses where you start a restaurant, oh, you're putting money into it and you're putting time into it, right? Like you've got to put both. So investing, you're going to have a significant amount of money to put into mutual funds or whatever, and there's no time put into it, but you have to have a significant amount of money to be able to make residual income. So this is a great way to have, if you've got the time and the consistent effort and the ability to connect with people, this is a way, it's a business model, it's a distribution system. I think people make network marketing different or difficult and have it in their mind something that it's not. It's a way to distribute product from a company to a consumer, and you're part of that distribution chain. There's not stores involved, and just a different type of distribution model of getting product to consumer, and even information from company to consumer. They're not spending money on ads on TV. We did those and it wasn't that effective for the amount of money that they had to put into that. That really doesn't make sense. They would rather put the money back into us because we are the advertising. We're not advertising on TV. We're not advertising on the radio. We are the advertisers. And so they're paying us to do that. So, if you do very little advertising for the company, you get very little paycheck. If you do more advertising and you teach people how to advertise their product, then you get a bigger paycheck. But there's no such thing as just passive income with this. It is work, it's conversations, it's talking to people. If you hate people, if you hate work, and you don't like talking to people, maybe this isn't for you. It's okay. Maybe, go find a big pile of cash and put it into a mutual fund where you don't have to talk to anyone. And maybe that makes you happy. But if you have a heart for people, if you like connecting with people, if you like having conversations, if you like to help meet the need of somebody, when you start getting those conversations, those stories back and the experiences from your customers and your team, that's where it's fun, right? Like where you're like, this is why I do this. And sometimes you get lost in the activity and you kind of forget that side of it. But like it's a business. And so if we're treating it like a business, we show up like a business, you get paid um money. I mean, I Amy Getz always laughs because I say, I know how to make money. I can teach people how to make money. She's like, "What? Do you have like a money printer in your basement? What do you mean?" And I'm like, "No, it's like there's a way to generate money. Like you can generate income with this." And I just think a lot of times people have mental blocks around that and we push the money away. We push the conversations away. We sabotage ourselves in these little small aspects of the conversation that you don't even realize because it's a subconscious plant in there that pushes it away. The same opportunity is open to two people, but they see it from a different point of view, and one pulls towards it and one pushes away from it. And it's the same opportunity. So it always goes back to mindset. It really does. But I hope this helps you guys in some ways thinking, how do I get into the community in a way with these booths? We've talked about them before, but I talk about them because they work. It does work. This is how I'm getting customers and team members. To not share that with you guys is kind of not fair, right? Like, I don't want to just share the results and not share the how to. So this is working. This is working for me. I know that there are other people doing things other ways, but it is effective. It's the consistent activity, keep doing it, that I think lends to that. So I hope you guys find that helpful. All right. I have a Zoom I have to get on. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention, I asked everybody if they know how to do a QR code because a lot of people don't know how to do that. I mean, just a show of hands, right? Put your hand up if you do not know how to do one.
Like
So,
how to use one or how to make it.
how to make it. And it's so easy, and you can store it on your phone. And when you share that with somebody, they have your information, the right information. You don't want them to have to, go search out Juice Plus. They'll get some random thing going. So there's maybe Stacey, you can cover. It's such an easy thing to do. So I don't
Are
know if you want to
you,
do that.
yeah, are you using Project Broadcast to do that, Alita, or are you?
No, I just go. I mean, literally, when I have had to do a QR code, I've gone on to Google and said how to create a QR code, and I put my link in there, and it populates and it just shows you how to make a QR code, and that's your QR code. I've done it on banners. I've done it at baseball fields, big ones. It's so easy, but it's so nice to have because everybody's used to doing that now, is holding their phone up and getting things.
Yeah. Let me show you too on Canva, for those are interested in using, or those that do use Canva. Okay,
Yeah,
this is
probably Canva has an option there too, most likely.
yeah, so this is the card I've been working on that I was telling you guys about. So if you're in Canva, it says QR code. If you scroll down on the left, I pay for it. I think that it's still an option even for free ones. You click QR code and you would enter the URL. So let's just say I want to pull let's see. I don't know. Like I would probably want to build a generic cart for a trio order
That's
is probably what I would do. And that
Could
way,
you actually do a cart that was generic without anything in it that you send to them?
well, you would just use like you would just send them your landing page. So Stacy
But those are going to go away.
turner.juiceplus.com, right? And that would just take them to the landing page. But let's just say I want to do a generic trio order or a quad. Let's just say a quad. So I'm going to add this in here. I want to pay per month and it's now 112. I'm going to add it to the cart. So I've got to generate the link that I could share to someone, right? So we're there. Go to my cart. Yes, do it. What am I missing? Oh, I can't see it because the pictures are above it. Sorry. I was like, I'm missing something. Okay. View checkout. I'm sorry, view cart and then share this cart. I'm going to put my email in here and then create the link. That's going to connect it back to me. I'm going to copy that link. Now it's copied on my clipboard. Then I would go back to my Canva and moving again. So then I would put this URL in there and it did not copy. Oh, it did. Okay, so then I would generate the code and then that goes there. So now that would be to my cart, right? So then I could add a photo because I've uploaded pictures already in here of a quad order. These are my images that I've put in myself.
You also want to be sure that if anybody shares a Canva link with you, you need to download it to your own business on Canva and not change anything. And that's really tricky. So it's not like NMDs don't want to share things with you. It's just it's very tricky for somebody to share something off of Canva unless you're very familiar with how to download it to your own book of business on Canva. So
Yeah, if I sent you guys the link to this, I could share this, but then inevitably somebody's going to go in there and they start editing this and it ruins it for everyone. And even if we say you have to make a copy first, people don't listen and then it ruins it for everyone and nobody's able to use it. So to make a copy, you would go to file and then it says make a copy. And then then you would have your own and you could edit it as you want to. So if I ever share something, I'm not going to share my original one because I don't want somebody editing that. I will make a copy and then I would share that copy with you guys. But as soon as someone gets on and doesn't make a copy and they start editing it, it changes it for everyone and there's no way to go back. So I can share a PDF, like once I get it done, I can share a PDF with you guys and then you could just find whatever printing place you want to have them printed. But as you can see, Canva makes it very easy. It says quality postcards delivered at your doorstep. Like you can order right from here and it just makes it super easy. But you could screenshot. We've done a whole Zoom on that where you can screenshot and just put this image in. Once I've designed it, I don't know that you need to edit it. Just put that whole image in on a postcard size and then you have it too and then you could just print it. But there's lots of Canva tutorials out there, but you could make a link for your trio. This is not going to count for a healthy starts order, right? Because healthy starts, you have to put their name and their birth date in there for the child. So this could get them to the quad or it could get them to the trio, but if they are interested in the healthy starts, you're going to have to make them a specific cart. And so it's fine. Or like we talked about, you could just send them to just the your landing page to where it's just, Stacy at stacyturner.juiceplus.com and they go here. At least if they click on that, then that cookie's going to tie them back to you. And then if they click off onto other things, it's supposed to tie it and keep it connected to you. And then you could walk them through how to find the healthy starts for families. And it's not that difficult. And if they're right there with you, it's super easy to do that. And then they just put in the child's name. Marcia, did you have another question?
I was just going to show you the card that I'm using. And I think this is on the hub, but I wouldn't swear to that. I got it from somebody else. So it looks like this on one side. Does that help? Can you see that? I can't see what I'm showing actually. I
Yeah.
can't see. Okay, so it looks like that on one side, and then it's this on the other side, and it's got the choices down here, and then you say, I want this product choice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's really for healthy starts because it can be used because it's got the adult's name and the child's name and whatever. So there's that. And anyway, I think this card is on the hub, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I love that where it has the pictures of those. I don't know that I've seen that on the hub, but maybe I missed it. So
And if not, I can find out if you don't find it there, I can find out where it came from. I actually got it from Anita Coward. She ordered a whole bunch of these cards and I just bought a bunch from her. But the other thing I'm going to do is take my QR code and put it on a return address label, which is really tiny, and just stick it right here on the top of the card. So they've got that. And you could change that out. You could do a few, and if you want to do something different, then you could change it if you put a label on it. So
yeah. Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, I find at sourdough classes, they do fill them out and then they hand them back to me. And it's not as committal as an order form, but then I have the information to build them a cart. And then, of course, you have to follow up with them to get that order. Like, you've got to look on your office. Is the order there? Hey, I'm not seeing that order. Did that link work for you? I gave you guys that follow up that I did that last couple days of the month, and I ended up with 3 new orders from that, from just following up. So people are interested. They're not going to order on their own. You really have to guide them through the next steps. But all right, I got to get off, guys. I'm going to try to catch the end of this call that I was supposed to be on. All right.
Thank you, Stacy.
You're welcome. Bye,
thanks,
everyone.